Welcome to Income After Hours, the show where your time after work can change your future.
And where we take the frantic high-speed train that is the financial news cycle and just slow it way, way down.
Yeah, so you can actually understand where you're going.
Exactly.
It is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. We are officially settling into the new year.
Finally. The holidays feel like they were about 6 months ago.
They really do. And hopefully your credit card bills from all that are manageable. But we are waking up to a very different reality this January.
We really are. I mean, if you're a parent or if you're thinking about becoming one or, frankly, if you just know a small child.
Yeah.
The whole financial landscape under your feet has just shifted.
Massively. We're living in the post-OBBBA world now.
Ah, yes, OBBBA, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
That's the one. It passed last July 2025. And while the name is, well, it's certainly memorable.
That's one word for it.
The contents are just absolutely massive. I mean, it is thousands and thousands of pages of tax code adjustments, economic incentives.
Infrastructure, tweaks, everything. It's an understatement to call it massive. I think if you printed it out, it would be heavier than most toddlers.
I believe it. And today we are zeroing in on one very specific slice of that bill.
The one that's got everybody talking.
Exactly. It's on page 840-something if you're reading along at home.
I'm sure everyone is.
So imagine a 401k for a newborn baby. But it's not funded by your paycheck, at least not at first. It is seeded with a check directly from the U.S. Treasury.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel. Like, it just doesn't sound real.
Right. But it's now federal law. We are talking about the Trump account.
And that is the official legislative name for it. It's not just a nickname.
No, it's in the text. And the question we are tackling today is this. Is this free money too good to be true? I mean, usually when the government hands you a check, there are strings attached that could, strangle a giraffe.
Oh, at least. And I think the bigger question for the parents listening is, does this new shiny object make the old reliable 529 college savings plan totally obsolete?
That is the million-dollar question. And as we'll see with the math later, it might literally be a million-dollar question.
It really could be. So our mission for this deep dive is to surgically dissect this thing. Section 530A of the tax code. We're going to stack these new accounts up against the 529s. We'll look at the new rollover rules from Secure 2.0.
And basically help you figure out exactly where to put your next dollar for your kids.
Exactly.
And we really need to mention the urgency here right off the bat. There is a free money window, and it is open right now.
It is. This isn't something you can put off thinking about.
So if you have a child born between 2025 and 2028, or if you're expecting one, you need to hear this.
Contributions officially start July 4th of this year, 2026. So the clock is ticking.
It really is. Okay, so let's unpack this. What on earth is a Trump account?
Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. The Trump account, which is legally known as Section 530A, is a brand new tax advantage savings vehicle.
And it's designed specifically for kids.
Specifically for children, yeah.
Tax advantage savings vehicle. It always sounds so boring, but that's usually where the money is hiding.
That's where all the good stuff is. So think of it like a container. It operates very, very similarly to an IRA, an individual retirement account. But it's for minors.
Got it. And the big headline feature, the thing that's all over TikTok and the news,
is the pilot program.
The birth lottery, as some people are calling it.
That's a pretty good name for it, actually, because in a way, it is. The legislation set up this pilot where the federal government provides a one-time $1,000 seed contribution.
Okay, let's pause right there. Birth lottery. I've heard people get genuinely upset about this because it's so time-bound.
Oh, it's strictly time-bound. It's only for U.S. citizen children who were born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028.
So if my kid was born in 2024, let's say December 31st, 2024, at 11:59 p.m.
Then they get nothing.
They missed the boat by 1 minute.
By 1 minute, they are out of luck for the free $1,000.
That is so harsh.
It is. Fiscal policy always has these really harsh edges, but, and this is a really important point, you can still open a Trump account for that child born in 2024.
Oh, okay. So the account itself isn't limited.
No. Any child under age 18 can have an account open for them. The lottery part just refers to that free grant from the U.S. Treasury.
Got it. So my nephew, who was born last week, he's in. He gets the cash.
He's in.
But my 6-year-old daughter, she can have an account, but Uncle Sam isn't writing the check to start it off.
That's exactly right. Now, there is a logistical hurdle here that I think people are already starting to stumble over.
Paperwork.
The paperwork. The child has to have a valid Social Security number.
Right. You can't just open it with a birth certificate that's penned in.
No, you need the SSN in hand, which, as any new parent knows, can take a few weeks.
Or months, if there's a backup.
Exactly. And you have to make an election. You can't just assume the money's going to show up in your mailbox.
You have to actually file something with the IRS.
You do. You have to file IRS Form 4547.
Form 4547. It sounds like a droid from Star Wars.
Kind of acts like one sometimes. It can be a little glitchy. Or, starting in the middle of this year, 2026, there will be a website, trumpaccounts.gov.
Okay, so you can do it online.
You can, but here's the kicker, and this is where people are going to get burned. You cannot file this retroactively forever.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a statute of limitations on claiming that seed money. You generally have until the child turns 2 years old to file the form.
2 years old, that's it.
That's it. So if you're listening to this in 2028 and you have a toddler who was born in 2025 and you just, never got around to filing that form.
The money is just gone.
It's gone. You forfeited it.
Wow. So note to self.
Sure.
Do not sleep on the IRS paperwork.
Never, ever sleep on IRS paperwork. And one other quick thing. The funds, that $1,000, it won't actually be deposited until after July 4th, 2026.
Okay, so that's the official launch date for any money going in.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got the government money. But there was this other twist in the research that it blew my mind. I actually thought it was a typo in our show notes. The Dell gift.
Oh, this is fascinating. This is where, private philanthropy slams right into public policy in a way we just haven't really seen before.
From Michael and Susan Dell, the computer company founder.
That's them. They pledged $6.25 billion.
Billion. With a B.
With a B. It's a staggering amount of money.
I mean, how does that even work? Does Michael Dell just, write a check to the Treasury Department?
Essentially, yeah. They created a massive trust that interfaces directly with the Treasury, and their goal was all about equity.
Okay.
They looked at the government pilot, that $1,000, and said, that's great, but it treats the kid in a wealthy suburb exactly the same as the kid in a struggling rural community.
So they're basically topping it up for certain kids.
Exactly. The Dell gift is an additional $250 deposit.
On top of the $1,000 from the government.
Potentially, yes. But the eligibility is totally different.
How so?
The Dell gift is for the first 25 million children who are aged 10 and under as of January 1st, 2025.
Ah, okay. So that's a much wider age bracket than the government's pilot program.
Much wider. But, and here's the big filter, there's a location and income component.
Okay.
You have to live in a ZIP code where the median family income is below $150,000.
150 grand.
Oh,
that actually covers a huge swath of the country, though.
It does. It's something like 75% of all ZIP codes. But here's the real deep dive nugget listeners need to know about this. It is a cliff.
What do you mean a cliff?
A hard cliff. They're using the 2024 census definitions for this. So if you live in a ZIP code where the median family income is, say, $149,900, your kid gets the $250.
Okay.
But if you live across the street and that ZIP code has a median income of $150,001,
you get zero.
Zero.
Nothing.
That seems incredibly arbitrary. It is. And it's already creating this really weird micro market where I've seen real estate agents actually advertising Dell-eligible neighborhoods.
You're kidding me. Buy this house, get $250 for your kid.
I am not kidding. People will optimize for absolutely everything.
That's wild. So just to be clear, theoretically, if I have a newborn in 2026 and I live in one of those eligible zip codes, I get the $1,000 from the Treasury plus the $250 from the Dells.
Theoretically, yes. That's a $1,250 starting balance before you, the parent, have put in a single dime.
That's a literal stimulus check just for being a kid. It's just, it's wild.
It really is.
But okay, so $1,250 is nice. It buys a lot of diapers, or I guess stock in diaper companies.
It definitely helps.
But it's not retirement money. The real power here has to come from what we add to it, right?
Absolutely. The seed money is just the hook. The contributions are the real meat of the program.
So let's talk mechanics. How much can we actually put into this thing? Because I know with IRAs and 401ks, there are always limits. The government never lets us save unlimited tax-advantaged money.
Nope, never. There are very strict limits. Starting on July 4th, 2026, the annual contribution cap is $5,000 per child.
$5,000 a year.
$5,000. And that will be indexed for inflation, but not until after 2027.
Okay. And these contributions are after tax, right?
Correct. They're after tax.
Okay, so explain that like I'm 5. Or maybe like I'm an exhausted parent who's been up all night.
Right. It just means you don't get a tax deduction for it today. It's not like a traditional 401k where you put money in and it lowers your taxable income on your W-2.
Got it.
With this, you earn your money, the IRS takes its cut, and then you take what's left over and put it in your kid's account.
So no immediate gratification on my tax return.
Not from your personal contribution, no. But, and this is where we really need to slow down because this is the most misunderstood part of the whole bill. There's a kicker.
An employer kicker.
A huge one involving employers.
This is Section 128 of the tax code, right?
Yes, Section 128. If you are an employee, your employer can contribute up to $2,500 annually per employee towards these accounts.
Wait. Per employee, not per child.
Per employee. And that is a very, very important nuance.
So if I have 3 kids, my company can still only give me $2,500 total.
Exactly. Which you then have to split between them somehow.
Okay, but here's the magic, right? That $2,500 is tax-free to me.
It is. And we need to distinguish tax-free from deductible because people use those words interchangeably and they are not the same thing.
Not at all.
And this tax-free exclusion is arguably much, much better.
Okay, walk me through the math on that.
Okay, so let's say your salary is $100,000. If you contribute to a 401k, you take a deduction. So you don't pay income tax on that money now, but you still pay Social Security and Medicare taxes on it.
Right.
And then, eventually when you pull it out in retirement, you pay income tax then. The government always gets you.
The government always gets you.
But with Section 128, that $2,500 employer contribution is what's called an exclusion from gross income.
Which means?
It means it's as if that money never even existed on your W-2. You don't pay income tax on it, and you don't pay FICA, Social Security, and Medicare on it.
It just vanishes from the IRS's view.
Completely. It is mathematically identical to when your employer puts money into your health savings account, your HSA. It is the most efficient form of compensation in the entire U.S. tax code.
That is huge. That's literally a tax-free raise.
It is. So, checklist item number 1 for everybody listening right now. Go to your HR department tomorrow. Ask them if they're setting up Section 128 contributions.
And what if they just give you a blank stare?
You tell them to call their tax counsel because it actually saves the company money, too.
How so?
They don't have to pay their half of the payroll taxes on that contribution either. It's a win-win.
It really is. But there's a catch on the limit, right? It's not just a free $2,500 on top of everything.
Oh, it's a big catch. That employer match counts toward that $5,000 total cap.
Ah, okay. The guardrails are back.
You're back. So if your employer is generous and puts in the full $2,500, then you or grandma or anyone else can only put in another $2,500 to hit that $5,000 limit.
Right. So we can't double dip and get $7,500 in there?
Nope. It's a hard $5,000 cap.
So if grandma wants to drop $5,000 into the account for my kid's birthday, but my employer already put in $2,500.
Grandma is out of luck. She has to write a check to a 529 or something else instead.
So we're going to see, like, fistfights at Thanksgiving over who gets to fund the Trump account.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Because unlike a 529 where you can put in these huge amounts, this bucket is tiny. You fill it up with a garden hose in about 10 seconds.
Right. Okay, so I've got the money in there. I'm feeling good. I want to turn this $5,000 into a fortune. Can I put it all in that new crypto coin my cousin told me about?
No, absolutely 100% not.
You are just killing my dreams.
I'm saving your child's future. That's what I'm doing. The legislation includes very, very specific investing restrictions.
They call them guardrails?
Right, but they're basically mandates. Funds in a Trump account must be invested in broad U.S. equity index funds.
So like an S&P 500 fund or a total stock market fund, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Think VTI, VOO, things like that, and they have to be low cost.
What's the limit on fees?
The expense ratio has to be under 0.10%.
Wow. So they are legally mandating low-fee passive investing.
They are. The logic from the government's perspective is, we're seeding this money, so we don't want parents gambling it away on some speculative asset.
Or getting eaten alive by high management fees from some predatory advisor.
Exactly. They want long-term compound growth that's tied to the American economy.
It's basically the Boglehead philosophy written into federal law.
It really is. It's like Jack Bogle's dream come true from beyond the grave. And the parent or the guardian, they're the one who manages it.
So I get to pick the specific index fund from the approved list.
Correct. You control it until the child turns 18.
And until they turn 18, it is a complete lockbox.
Yes. This period is actually defined in the IRS guidance as the growth period.
A growth period.
It lasts from birth until the year the child turns 18. And during that time, there are effectively 0 withdrawals allowed.
So I can't take it out for braces.
No braces.
Can't take it out for the new PlayStation 6.
Definitely no PS6.
What about real emergencies, like a medical issue?
There are very, very rare exceptions, like the death of the beneficiary. But other than that, the money stays in. It is forced savings.
Which, let's be honest, for a lot of people, that's a feature, not a bug. It prevents us from raiding the piggy bank when the car breaks down.
Exactly. It forces the money to compound completely uninterrupted.
Okay, so that's the Trump account. It's a lockbox. It's got some free money. It has these great employer perks. And it basically forces you to be a smart investor.
That's a good summary.
But we can't talk about saving for kids without talking about the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world for the last 20 years, the 529 plan.
The old guard.
The old guard strikes back.
Hmm.
But before we dive into the 529 and this massive showdown between these two accounts, I just want to take a quick second. If you're listening to this on your commute, or maybe while you're doing the dishes and you're thinking, wait, I need to check my zip code for that Dell money, or I need to look up Section 128, do us a quick favor.
Please do.
Hit that like button and make sure you're following Income After Hours. We literally dig through these 900-page bills so you don't have to.
And your support helps us keep the lights on and, more importantly, the coffee brewing.
And trust me, we need a lot of coffee to get through tax code footnotes.
So much coffee.
Ain't that the truth? Okay, the 529. Why do we still care about it? If the Trump account is the new hotness, is the 529 just dead?
It is absolutely not dead. Not even close. In fact, for a lot of people, it is still the superior vehicle.
Okay, why?
2 words. Tax efficiency.
For education specifically.
For education specifically.
Yeah.
The 529 plan was purpose-built for school. And the deal has always been, you put money in after tax, it grows tax deferred, and then if you pull it out for qualified education expenses, tuition, books, room and board, it comes out completely tax-free.
0 tax on any of the gains.
0. Nothing. And that applies to federal tax and usually state tax as well.
And that's another big point, the state tax benefit on the front end, right?
Yes. And this is where the 529 absolutely crushes the Trump account for a lot of our listeners. Over 30 states offer a state income tax deduction for your contributions.
So if I live in a high-tax state like New York or California or Indiana,
if you put $5,000 into a New York 529, you get a deduction on your New York state taxes. But if you put that same $5,000 into a Trump account,
you get nothing from the state.
Nothing.
So that's immediate cash back in your pocket today.
Exactly. So if you're in a high-tax state, just ignoring the 529 is painful. You're leaving money on the table.
And what about the contribution limits?
They're massive. I mean, they're just in a different league. In some states, the lifetime limit is over $500,000 per beneficiary.
$500,000 versus $5,000 a year.
Right. And you can superfund a 529. You can put in 5 years of contributions at once, up to $90,000 from an individual to avoid gift taxes. It's a whale of a vehicle compared to the Trump account's little minnow.
And here is the objection I always hear. What if my kid doesn't go to college?
The big what if.
What if they want to start a band? What if they get a full scholarship? People are terrified of having money trapped in a 529.
And that has historically been the biggest barrier, the stranded money problem. Because if you pull it out for non-education reasons, you have to pay tax on the earnings plus a 10% penalty. It stings.
It really does. But the landscape on that changed pretty recently.
It did. The Secure 2.0 Act, which kicked in just a few years ago, introduced a complete game changer. As of 2024, you can now roll over up to $35,000 from a 529 directly into a Roth IRA for the beneficiary.
So the money isn't stuck anymore. It just changes its job from education fund to retirement fund.
Precisely. Now, there is fine print. There is always fine print with the IRS.
Of course. So give us the caveats. Why do people mess this up?
The 15-year rule. The 529 account itself must have been open for at least 15 years before you can do a rollover.
Okay, so you can't just open a 529 when the kid is 16 and then expect to roll it over when they turn 18.
No, that's a non-starter. You have to open it when they're a baby for this to work.
Okay, what else?
The funds you want to roll over must have been in the account for at least 5 years, so you can't just dump a bunch of money in today and then roll it to a Roth tomorrow.
It prevents people from gaming the system.
Right. And finally, the rollover is subject to the annual Roth IRA contribution limit.
Ah, so you can't move the whole $35,000 at once.
Correct. You have to do it over several years at whatever the current Roth limit is.
But still, that solves the what if they don't go to college
Oh.
panic for a lot of people. I mean, 35 grand is a really nice start to a Roth IRA.
It is. It takes a huge amount of the risk off the table, at least for that first chunk of saving.
Okay. So we've got the Trump account flexible spending later, but small limits. And we've got the 500 to 29 huge limits, tax-free for school, but stricter rules. Let's do a showdown. Let's go head to head.
Let's do it.
Category 1, tax treatment on the way out. Who wins?
For education expenses, the 529 wins, hands down. It's not even a contest.
And why is that?
Because the exit is completely tax-free.
Right.
If you have $50,000 of gains in a 529 and you use it to pay tuition, you pay $0 in tax.
Okay. And the Trump account.
If you have that same $50,000 of gains in a Trump account and you pull it out for tuition,
You're paying taxes.
you are paying ordinary income tax on the whole withdrawal, just like pulling money out of a traditional IRA.
Ouch. So if your kid is, I don't know, in the 22% or 24% tax bracket by then?
You're losing almost a quarter of your gains to the IRS.
So using a Trump account to pay for college is actually tax inefficient.
Very. You are voluntarily paying a tax bill you didn't need to pay.
Okay, so 529 takes the gold medal for school bills. Round 2, flexibility.
This is where the Trump account really shines, specifically after the kid turns 18.
Right, because the 529 is so rigid. It's strictly education or that specific Roth rollover we just talked about.
Exactly. But the Trump account, once the child turns 18, that growth period we mentioned ends. The account essentially converts into a traditional IRA.
Okay.
And the rules say you can use that money for education, for a first-time home purchase, or to start a business.
Now let me clarify something I saw in the notes. Some sources say these are penalty-free withdrawals. Does that mean they're tax-free?
No, and this is a huge misconception that we absolutely have to clear up. Penalty-free just means you don't pay the extra 10% early withdrawal penalty.
The one that usually applies to IRAs before age 59 and a half.
Right, but you still pay ordinary income tax on the withdrawal.
So if my kid takes $20,000 out of their Trump account at age 25 to start a coffee shop,
They avoid the 10% penalty because starting a business is a qualified use. But they still have to add that $20,000 to their taxable income for that year.
got it. So it's accessible, but it's definitely not free money.
Exactly. Whereas if they just wanted to take that money out for a trip to Europe, they'd pay the income tax, PLUS, the 10% penalty.
Okay. Makes sense. Now, category 3, and this is the one I think is going to shock people. Financial aid. The AFSA.
This is the hidden trap. This is where a lot of middle-class families could get really, really hurt.
So we know that a 529 plan is generally considered a parental asset.
Which is a good thing for financial aid purposes.
Right. The FAFSA formula expects parents to contribute a maximum of, 5.64% of their assets per year?
Correct. So if you have, say, $50,000 saved in a 529, the colleges effectively look at that and say, okay, you can afford to pay about $2,800 of that this year.
It's a minimal impact.
Very minimal. But the Trump account, legally, that account is in the child's name. It's a custodial account for the exclusive benefit of the child.
And student assets get absolutely hammered on the FFA.
They get hammered. Typically, student assets are assessed at 20%.
Whoa, 20% versus 5.6.
Yes. So let's take that same $50,000. If it's sitting in a Trump account instead of a 529, the college formula says, great, the student has money. They can pay $10,000 this year.
So just by having the money in the wrong bucket, I just lost over $7,000 in financial aid eligibility.
For that 1 year. And over 4 years of college, that's a $28,000 mistake.
That completely wipes out the benefit of the tax-free growth.
Yeah.
That wipes out the free $1,000 seed money 10 times over.
It very well could. This is why being on Team Trump account is so dangerous for the middle class. If you're low income, you might not have enough assets for it to matter. If you're super wealthy, you aren't getting financial aid anyway.
But if you're in that middle zone where you might qualify for some grants.
The Trump account is radioactive for financial aid.
So the strategy has to be to empty the Trump account before you file the FSA.
That's one potential play. Or you just have to keep the balance in it relatively low.
That is a massive, massive red flag. Okay, one more comparison point. The earned income loophole. I have friends who try to open Roth IRAs for their babies because they want them to be rich.
And I'm sure you tell them they can't do that unless the baby has a paying job.
Right. You can't fund a Roth IRA unless you have earned income. You can't just give your kid an allowance and call it income. They have to be like a baby model for Gerber or something.
Exactly. The IRS is very, very strict on that.
But the Trump account doesn't have that rule.
No earned income required.
So you can literally fund it the day they are born.
You can. The day they are born, as soon as they have an SSN, you can drop $5,000 in. No W-2 needed. And that is a huge advantage for getting money compounding from day one, from year zero.
Which brings us to the really fun part.
Yeah.
The math. Because we love compound interest on this show.
We do. It's Albert Einstein's eighth wonder of the world.
So the White House Council of Economic Advisors, the CEA, they released some projections. Let's run through them. Scenario A. We do nothing but take the free money. $1,000 seed. We just let it sit for 18 years.
Okay, so assuming average market returns, roughly 7 to 8% after inflation, that single $1,000 turns into roughly $5,800 to $6,000.
$6,000. Okay. Buys a used car, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not life-changing wealth.
No. It's a very nice graduation gift, but it's not going to fund their retirement.
Okay, scenario B. We go all in. We max out the contributions. $5,000 a year. Every single year from birth to age 18.
Now we are talking about some serious numbers. By age 18, that account is projected to hold roughly $303,800.
$300,000 by the time they graduate high school.
Yes. And if they just let that sit, don't add another penny, just let it ride until they're, say, 28.
What happens?
That's when it could cross the $1 million mark.
So they could be a millionaire before their 30th birthday.
It essentially guarantees them a fully funded retirement before they even start their first full-time job.
That is absolutely mind-bending. But it does require the parents to have $5,000 a year of disposable income that they can lock away.
Which is a very real hurdle. But don't forget the employer match. If your employer puts in the $2,500, you only need to come up with $2,500.
Which is about $200 a month.
Exactly. That makes it much, much more achievable for a lot of families.
Okay, so we have these two very different buckets, the Trump account and the 529. Do we have to choose one over the other?
Absolutely not. In fact, for most people, the smartest play is not either. It's the and strategy.
The and strategy. Okay, walk us through it.
Step 1, open the Trump account, no matter what. Do it to get the free $1,000. It is free money. Even if you never contribute another dime, take the government grant.
And the Dell money if you happen to qualify.
Right. Step 2, talk to your HR department. If your employer offers that Section 128 contribution, that $2,500, you take it. It is tax-free compensation. Do not leave that on the table.
So we've maxed out the free money and the employer match. What's next?
Step 3 is you use the 529 for your actual dedicated college savings goals.
Yeah.
If you know you want to pay for 4 years of state U, and that's going to cost $100,000, put that money in the 529.
Because it's more tax efficient for tuition.
Far more. You get the state tax deduction on the way in if your state has one, and you get the tax-free withdrawal for tuition on the way out. The Trump account is mathematically inferior for paying that specific bill.
So, to simplify, Trump account for general wealth building and maybe retirement, and the 529 specifically for tuition.
That's the perfect way to think about it.
Now, you mentioned a super move in our pre-show meeting. Something about an age 18 conversion. You called it a Roth ladder on steroids.
Yes. Okay, so this is where it gets really tactical. This is for the real optimizers listening.
Lay it on us.
Okay, so when the child turns 18, the legal structure of the Trump account changes. It becomes, for all intents and purposes, a traditional IRA.
Right, we covered that.
Now think about your average 18-year-old college student. What is their taxable income?
It's usually zero or very, very low. Maybe they have a part-time job at a pizza place making a few grand a year.
Exactly. Their tax bracket is rock bottom, and that is the perfect time to execute a Roth conversion.
Explain the mechanism. How does that work?
You take the money that's in that traditional IRA, the former Trump account, and you convert it to a Roth IRA. When you do that, you have to pay taxes on the conversion amount.
But since the kid has basically no income.
Exactly. Let's say the standard deduction in the year 2044 is $25,000. Your kid can convert $25,000 of their Trump account balance into a Roth IRA and pay zero federal income tax on it.
Because their standard deduction just wipes out that income completely.
Bingo! It's a free conversion, a tax-free conversion. And what if they want to convert more than the standard deduction? The next chunk is taxed at 10%, then the next chunk at 12%. It is still incredibly cheap compared to the tax rate you'll pay as a working adult in your prime earning years.
So you can do this strategically over a few years. When they're 18, 19, 20, 21, you just churn that money from the pre-tax Trump account into a post-tax Roth IRA.
And once it's in the Roth,
It grows tax-free forever.
and it comes out tax-free in retirement, you have effectively and legally turned a tax-deferred account into a completely tax-free account just by utilizing that low-income valley of early adulthood.
That is brilliant. That is why you're the expert.
It does require planning. I mean, you have to file the tax returns to do it. It's not automatic,
Yeah.
but the payoff is just gigantic.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. We've looked at the pilot program, the employer match, the 529 comparison, that huge FAFSA trap, and now this Roth conversion trick.
It's a lot of moving parts.
It is. So let's try to summarize. If I'm a listener with a baby who was just born in 2026, what is my immediate checklist?
Okay, checklist item 1. Confirm your eligibility. Are they a U.S. citizen born between 2025 and 2028? If yes, you get the $1,000.
Okay.
Checklist item 2, file the form, IRS form 4547. Do it when you do your taxes, or go to trumpaccounts.gov when it launches. Do not assume it happens automatically.
Got it.
Checklist item 3, go to work tomorrow and ask your HR department about Section 128 Trump account contributions. If they stare at you blankly, tell them to call their tax counsel. You want that $2,500 match.
And what's 4?
Number 4 is, do not abandon your 529. It is still the king of college funding. Keep feeding it, especially if you get a state tax break for it.
And I'll add checklist item 5. Set a calendar reminder for your kid's 18th birthday to start looking at that Roth conversion.
Definitely do that.
You know, as we wrap up, I'm thinking about the bigger picture here. We've been talking about mechanics and tax codes and all the nerdy details. But zooming out, if this actually works, if millions of kids really do end up with $50,000 or $100,000 or $300,000 at age 18, that changes everything.
It fundamentally changes the social contract of young adulthood in America.
Right. Because right now, most 18-year-olds start with 0. Or, they start with student loan debt. They start in the hole.
But imagine a generation where every 18-year-old has capital, real, actual capital.
No.
Do they skip college to start a business because they already have the seed money? Do they travel and gain a global perspective? Do they take risks on art or science because they aren't terrified of making rent?
Or do they just all buy really expensive cars and crash them?
Well, that's the risk, of course.
Right.
But if we create a generation of capitalists, I mean, people who own a piece of the economy from birth, that changes how they view the economy itself. They aren't just workers anymore, they're owners.
That is a really profound shift. We might be funding a fundamental change in how the American dream works. Instead of earning your way up from 0, you're granted a platform to build on from day one.
It's the difference between being given a ladder and being given a launch pad.
I love that. A launch pad. Well, look, if this deep dive saved you a headache with the IRS, or better yet, found you some free money you didn't know was coming your way, do us a favor. Drop a comment below. Are you opening a Trump account? Are you sticking with the 529? We really want to hear your strategy.
And please hit like and make sure you're following Income After Hours. We have a lot more deep dives coming on the rest of this OBBBA bill very soon.
Absolutely. We are just scratching the surface. So, to close this out, here is to planting trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. May your investments compound, your tax bills shrink, and your children's future be brighter than you ever imagined. Good night, everyone.
Good night.